Hello students, we'll study the fifth chapter of history through the eyes of travelers. In the last three videos, we have studied about different travelers who visited India in the Middle Ages. We have studied about Al-Biruni, Ibn Battuta and Fanba Bani. In this video, we will study urban professional classes, women slaves, Sadi and laborers, and other travelers who visited India and wrote about the social, religious, and cultural practices of India. Fanba Burney speaks about complex social reality that existed in Mughal Empire. Bernier felt that artisans had no incentive to improve the quality of their manufactures since profits were appropriated by the state. He also noticed the existence of prosperous merchant communities engaged in long distance exchange. Merchants often had a strong community of kin ties and were organized into their own caste cum occupational bodies. In Western India, these trading groups were called Mahajans and their chief the Seth. Other urban professional classes include physicians who were known as Hakim or Vaid, teachers who were called as Pandits or Mullah, lawyers who were called as Vakil, painters, architects, musicians, calligraphers, etc. While some of these people depended on imperial patronage, many made their living by serving other patrons, while still others served ordinary people in the crowded markets and bazaars and made their living. Use of slaves. Slaves were openly sold in markets like any other commodity. Slaves were exchanged as gifts. When Ibn Battuta reached Sindh, he purchased horses, camels, and slaves as gift for Sultan Muhammad bin Tughlaq. There was considerable differentiation among slaves. Some female slaves in the service of the Sultan were experts in music and dance. Female slaves were also used to keep a watch on his nobles by the Sultan. Slaves were used for domestic labor. Ibn Battuta noted that men and women slaves carried palanquins or dola. The price of slaves, particularly female slaves required for domestic labor, was very low. The practice of Sati. Bernier has provided a detailed description of Sati in his account. He mentioned that while some women seemed to embrace death cheerfully, others were forced to death. He also noticed the child Sati which a 12-year-old young widow sacrificed. Women laborers. Women labor was crucial in both agricultural and non-agricultural production. Women from merchant families participated in commercial activities. Therefore, it seems unlikely that women were confined to the private spaces of their homes. Now, let us study about other travelers who wrote detailed accounts regarding Indian social customs and religious practices. Jesuit Roberto Nobili. He translated Indian text into European languages. Duarte Barbosa. He was a Portuguese traveler. He wrote a detailed account of trade and society in South India. Jean-Baptiste Taverny. He was the famous French jeweler who visited India 6 times. He was particularly fascinated with the trading conditions in India and compared India to Iran and the Ottoman Empire. Italian doctor Manuzzi. He wrote detailed accounts regarding Indian social customs and religious practices and settled in India. Pelsaret. He visited the subcontinent during the 17th century. He was shocked to see the widespread poverty of the people. Abdur Razzaq Samarkandi. He visited South India in the 1440s and saw India as a land of wonder. So here we come to the end of 5th chapter.